it's great to be here and be with all your members today.
Well, thanks, Josh. Hey, let's start by, since you talked about kind of the recession and like we said, we've been doing this for a long time. What's the difference, in your opinion, from this current COVID-19 crisis versus, let's say, the recession? How have you seen over the years, at the MEDC, how has this really been a sort of a game changer of sorts?
Well, I think the biggest difference in this crisis compared to the '08 recession is that was a truly terrible financial situation, like none other in our lifetimes that we had seen before. But what compounds or challenges us in a different way with this one is that it's a economic crisis brought on by a healthcare crisis and a pandemic of the which none of us had seen in our lifetime before. And so I think that just brings its own set of unique challenges to it, and things that the governor had to do and others have to do to keep us safe, doing things like we are today, sitting in our home offices and bedrooms, making this work, trying to do what we can to support. I think it's a unique challenge that our economy has in this way, because everybody has to stay at home and can't be doing the things that we would normally do to build the economy, and our small businesses not being able to be open, which are all critical measures, though, I think, to make sure that this is something that we can we can bend the curve on and get out of this healthcare emergency to obviously meet the healthcare needs first, but then also bring back the economy more quickly than we would if we didn't take those stringent measures and let this drag out. So I think that's probably the biggest difference, is the healthcare crisis with it. But I would also add that I think Michigan is more prepared now in 2020 for the economic aspect of this compared to 2008, with a more diversified economy, more money in the startup ecosystem, our large manufacturers and other large businesses that are in better financial shape themselves than they are now. And I would even just add the way the state economic development community has planned for a potential recession, knowing that there was going to be one at some point, and thinking about tools and services that may be needed in advance of it, as opposed to trying to do everything on the fly once we got into this situation. So I think that's on a positive side, a difference that we have now is the preparation and the partnerships that are out there to help in this type of a situation.
Yeah. Josh, what's the MEDC perspective as far as maybe the bounce back after this crisis goes away? I mean, the recession, when that hit, the rebound took a long time. There is some that have said that because this happened so quick, and even though we did, anticipate some type of recession, is there a perspective that, we can, rebound a lot quicker than we did with the '08, '09 recession?
At the MEDC, we've looked at a lot of the different analyses on these, as I'm sure you have, and different members of the association that are on here. And I think some of the best forecasting that we've always used has been the University of Michigan RSQE analysis that they put into place that does show exactly that, where there's a steep drop, a drop in 1 week or so that is unprecedented in our lifetimes. But also, if we can bend the curve and if we can get out of the healthcare challenge that we have today, still having a strong fundamentals of the economy that we hope can potentially bring the economy back in the final quarter of this year or early in 2021 in a different way than the slow recovery that we saw, not just in Michigan, but nationally coming out of the '08 recession. So I think both because of the type of a drop and the reason for the drop that we're seeing in this economic situation, as well as the preparedness and the more diversified industries that we have in Michigan, and the innovation that's coming out of our companies, we feel confident that once this nation is ready for the recovery mode of this, that Michigan has a great opportunity to lead that recovery and be at the forefront of the economic comeback.
Great. Well, definitely we've got your back. We hope you're right, and I'm going to hold you to it. So I think that we're fairly resilient obviously as a state, and I would agree that I think our bounce back will be a lot better. Just to remind folks that are attending and watching us right now, you can submit questions. We'll try to get to those, toward the end of our conversation. We're going to end our conversation today around 10:30. If you've just joined us, I'm Ara Topouzian, Executive Director of MVCA, and we're talking with Josh Hundt from Michigan Economic Development Corporation. Okay, Josh, let's talk about some of these programs that the MEDC has initiated and partnered, certainly with the state of Michigan. There are a few different programs that I think the business community probably would like to know of, and maybe some detail of it. Do you want to first talk about the Michigan Small Business Relief Program?
Yeah, absolutely. And we are working every day to evaluate new tools that we need in this unprecedented time, and also modifications to existing programming that we have out there. And the first area that we saw we needed to step in and partner to support small businesses was to directly support some of our Main Street businesses and businesses on commercial corridors, such as restaurants and bars and salons and small retailers and others that were directly impacted, obviously, first and foremost by the COVID-19 outbreak, but also directly impacted by the subsequent executive orders that the governor needed to make to ensure that we were able to bend the curve from the healthcare side of things. And that program that we first established was the Michigan Small Business Relief Program, which is a $20 million program that is providing grants and loans to small businesses across the state for critical needs that they have, to working capital needs that they have, whether it's lease payments or mortgage payments or utility expenses, or especially payroll, to keep people on board with the company so that they have the workforce that they need when this comeback takes place. And it's a program that we have done in partnership with our local economic development organizations in the state, with 15 economic development organizations across the state, managing the grant program on our behalf and making loan referrals to the MEDC for the tool, with the grants capped at $10,000 and the loans ranging from anywhere from $50,000 to $200,000. We're going to be able to impact and support at least 1,100 small businesses with this tool, and we know that's not enough, but it's a tool that we could quickly get money into the hands of small businesses, with the first money going out to small businesses as early as yesterday or today. So it was our commitment that we would have the program up and running and in the hands of our economic development organizations by April 1st, and that the program launched on March 27th. So we were happy to be at a point that not only could we have the program up and running, but by or around April 1st, have the first money actually into the hands of those impacted small businesses across the state.
So, Josh, the 15 different economic development organizations around the state that are administering this, obviously that's a great help to the MEDC, and I'm assuming they're done by region, so it's just easier for the inflow of applications. Any idea how many applications you've received for this relief so far?
Yeah, I don't have an exact number on it, but what we're hearing, and we're obviously not surprised about, is that the amount of applications is far outpacing the availability of dollars or programming funds that we have with the tool, which we knew would happen, and which is why it's important that we continue to partner with the Michigan Small Business Development Center on tools that they have, the U.S. Small Business Administration in terms of the emergency loans that they put together, and also programming under the stimulus bill, the CARES Act as well, that comes into play to provide support in a way that a $20 million program just is not able to assist the number of small businesses that we would like to. But with it being a complementary program in addition and in support of those programs and existing tools that we have. We think it's making an impact. And just on your note around the economic development organizations that are partnering with us on this, those are organizations that are across the state, covering all 83 counties, and it's groups like Ann Arbor Spark in the Ann Arbor area, the Right Place in Grand Rapids, Southwest Michigan First, and the Kalamazoo area, and groups of that type. The best place that I would recommend to go to get information on the partners that are administering the grants and the program itself would be to go to our website, which is michiganbusiness.org/COVID-19. That has information both on that program and other tools that we've put together or federal and local tools that are in place as well.
Okay, great. Thanks, Josh. So, and also on that webpage, there's information about the Pure Michigan Business Connect, the procurement assistance program. So, talk a little bit about that. That's an online platform that will do what?
Yeah, so we have had the Pure Michigan Business Connect program as a tool that we've had for about a decade now, and it's a platform very unique in a lot of ways to Michigan that was designed to increase sales for our businesses in Michigan, not through incentives, but through getting them more contracts and building out the supply chain in Michigan so that large Michigan buyers could have more of a supply chain in Michigan as opposed to going out of the state or out of the country for that supply chain. And that's a program that has helped facilitate billions of dollars in new contracts over the last decade. And what we did was on the first day that we began to notice COVID-19 cases in Michigan, flipped that program to focus essentially entirely for the time being on connecting suppliers of personal protective protection equipment and manufacturers of face masks and face shields and gowns and hand sanitizer and other items, not just to small businesses, but more importantly at this time to hospitals, municipalities, and first responders that are in need of that critical equipment so that all the equipment that we possibly can get into the hands of our first responders and our healthcare professionals in Michigan. And just one real quick success story with this is Petoskey Plastics up in Petoskey has, through a facilitated match under this platform, has now connected with the McLaren Health System across the state and is manufacturing 10,000 gowns a day for their healthcare professionals in this time of need. And that's just one example of many in terms of the partnerships that are being formed to get our healthcare professionals everything that they need during this time of crisis.
Well, we hope we see more stories like that come up, and we certainly know that folks in the UP have got some great technology, sometimes some hidden technology that we don't all know about. So it's great to hear that's a good story to tell, Josh. So probably another program that I'm aware of that probably very useful for our small businesses and a lot of our startups would be the Capital Access Program. Could you touch on that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So another tool that we've had and that we're looking at whether or not any modifications need to be made to is our Capital Access Program, which really is a suite of tools that we have that provide access to financing for small businesses when the bank financing can't entirely do it on its own. It's either through the Capital Access Program providing loan loss reserve funds, or it's through the broader capital access programming tools that we have that can support through loan participation or collateral support to not compete in any way with banks, but to provide, but to complement bank and commercial lending that is out there that provide more capital for businesses in our state. And it's a tool that was actually started in 2008 in Michigan during the Great Recession, and then was ended up becoming a federal program built on the Michigan model, and it's been a program that we have tweaked and evolved depending on the need in different times. Where when we were in growth times, it was primarily used to help companies grow and have the financing that they needed, maybe for a new line or needed to expand their facilities. But at its core, it's a program designed to help companies exactly in the situation that we're in today, when it's a challenge to get the financing that they need, and it's an opportunity to provide that early financing for companies of all small business sizes.
Okay, great, thanks, Josh. And any other programs that you would recommend? And again, we posted it in the chat, and we'll certainly push it out there that the web address is michiganbusiness.org/COVID-19. What other resources should the business community take a look at or research as they're dealing with this crisis?
Yeah, so I think specifically to the MEDC, it's sorry, I'm having trouble with the audio there.
Yeah, I'm hearing that. I'm getting the same thing too, so I may switch over to my phone for audio.
Specific to the MEDC side of things, what we are working on is a couple of different programs specific for small business and the startup community that we are hoping to roll out in the next few days and next around the Business Accelerator Fund, and also additional financing and additional financial tools for the startups and the tech businesses in our state. And so those are things that I think are really the next step of where we are going to go with the tools that we have, is to provide additional support and additional assistance for some of our startup community, in addition to the more Main Street type of businesses that have been supported by the programming so far. And then one other program that I would hit on that we haven't talked about yet, but is fully launched, that we launched yesterday, is another program under the Pure Michigan Business Connect platform that provides retooling grants for small businesses that are looking to retool their lines or their supply chains to provide support for the COVID-19 outbreak. And so what we are looking to support with these are companies that within the next 30 days can make the modifications that they need support products like Petoskey Plastics has done for gowns or face shields or other items, but just need that small kickstart to help them get over the ledge with that. So it's $1 million program that we have, providing grants anywhere from $10,000 to $150,000 to help companies retool quickly and to, within the next 30 days, be able to produce more of those critical PPE products that we need for our Michiganders and our healthcare providers across the state. So that's another program that we have available on the website that's up and running today. And like I said, we look to have more programs in the coming days and week that will be available to more of the startup and tech community.
Folks, I know that you guys in the chat have said that there might be some audio problems. Hopefully for me, very good, thank you. See that already people are saying it's clear. I think Zoom has had its influx, certainly, of webinars, making things a little bit more tricky. Josh, what other advice, maybe some parting advice? And before we get to that, just as a reminder, we've got this chat room that both Josh and I can see. And if you've got a question you'd like to ask of Josh and the MEDC, please feel free to do that. We're going to go for a few more minutes here in this discussion. But Josh, how about some parting thoughts on sort of the business community and what else they can do to, we're running into, I think, there's hiring freezes that are going on. Folks are trying to preserve their capital. Many of our startups are in growth mode. and certainly this has put a stop to things. What other advice outside of these programs do you have for the business community?
Well, I think the first thing is that all of us following the guidance on the healthcare side of things of staying safe and staying home and doing the things that we can to bend the curve and make this the shortest possible healthcare crisis that it possibly can be. Because I think the quicker that we can get through the healthcare side of things, the quicker that the economy can come back, as opposed to this dragging on for a long amount of time. And then the second thing that I think would be advice, obviously, for everybody, and I know there's a lot of small business people of different types on the line here today, is that I would also make sure that we're doing everything that we can to support our Main Street businesses, support our small businesses here in the state in whatever way we can throughout this time, in a safe way, obviously, to keep our businesses open and keep people safely employed right now. In terms of the broader business community and what advice that I would have, I would actually say just the number one thing that I would do is continue to give us feedback, and whether that's through you, Ara, or that's directly to myself or anybody else at the MEDC. We are working every minute that we can to try to develop whatever support and whatever tools that we can, but never hesitate to call us and let us know what we need to do to support in whatever way that we can. So I think it's just everybody coming together in the resilient way Michiganders always have to support each other, to support our small businesses, and all talk and listen to each other about the different ways that we can help each other get through this and get back on with the recovery mode of the economy.
Yeah, well said, Josh. And I would add, I should have added earlier, is that we've been a great partner with the MEDC, and certainly this is part of that partnership that, we want to help disseminate good information out there, and certainly we're here to help too. So we'll be continuing that partnership for a long time coming. Josh, I don't know if you could see some of the comments that are coming in to the chat room, but there was last couple of ones that I'd like to address. One is, if you want to touch on this, many startups are struggling with HR issues right now: layoffs, paid time off, unemployment, etc. This person says they've exhausted all recent legislature from government. Does the MEDC have any contact people that could help them understand, the new rules, and so they can make good decisions regarding their team, their staff?
Yeah, what I will do is I'll send out, Ara, to you, and you can send it to all your members after this, a contact info for senior advisor to the Department Director of Labor and Economic Opportunity. Ed Duggan has been the point person for the Department of Labor and Economic Opportunity on those types of challenges and issues that are coming up. And I've been extremely impressed with the responsiveness and the way that he is trying every way he can to get back to people on those types of questions. So right after this I will shoot you his email, just so that I don't give you the wrong email address right now, and get that to you so you can to all the members. But it's I know it's something where they are working day and night to try to answer these questions and provide more clarity on things beyond what I know all of you have done, which is check out the websites and check out the FAQs. But there's always something that's missing on that, so they're trying to respond as they come in, and then update the FAQs and other guidance as the questions come in.
Great, I appreciate that, Josh. Here's another one. This is interesting. Can you point to the needs that are not getting met that the business community can do? And you touched a little bit on how people are really kind of sort of reinventing themselves a bit, but what is your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's a very good question. And I know part of that question as well was around the site they could do to see things coming in going forward. And I would just reiterate the website that we've been updating, where it has not just MEDC resources, but also also other resources that are out at michiganbusiness.org/COVID-19 that I feel like about at least daily is having updates on different resources and new ways to support the business community out there, whether it's an MEDC program or one of our partners. In terms of what the business community can do, I think it really does still really relate to just providing the feedback, providing information on what you are seeing out there, and doing everything that you can to support other small businesses and support the workforce in Michigan. In terms of a specific tool or a specific program right now that needs to be done, I know we're constantly working on it and looking at things that we can do and we can do with our partners, but the feedback and guidance from all of you is going to be the best way to make that effective.
Great. Thanks, Josh. Josh, there's a lot of questions. I won't go into the detail on some of them, but there seems to be maybe some confusion over deadlines for applying for some of these grants and programs. Are all the economic development organizations that are helping with this, is everybody on the same timeline? Is there a capacity issue at the moment? Or, I mean, are they still ongoing, taking applications as well?
Most of the regions are still taking applications under the Small Business Relief Program. I know some of the window has closed on that. There may be potential opportunities in the future as well. So we've kept everything up there for the program. So the local EDOs are all on slightly different time frames. They all got up and running at the same time, but depending on the review process that was set at the local level, there were different time frames in that way for that program. The window for the PMBC retooling grants is open. We don't have a specific deadline on that. That's going to be a rolling basis as long as there's the need and the funding available for it. And I know the Business Accelerator Fund modifications that I mentioned that are still being finalized and we expect to announce in the next day or so would take effect as early as tomorrow. So in terms of the core programs, that's kind of the windows and the time frames on our end of where we're at with things. Okay, terrific. Well, we've just about run out of time, Josh. I want to thank you for taking the time to talk with me today and really to give our business community kind of an update on what's going on. We certainly have the links that we put out there from the MEDC. And for those of you that are still watching and will watch us later, because we'll record this and re-release this, that there will be information on our website, michiganvca.org. And also, again, a reminder to go to michiganbusiness.org/COVID-19. MEDC will update their website, and as they do, we will as well. So, Josh, thanks for taking the time. Stay well, stay healthy, and take care of those kids. All right, I will. Thank you so much, and appreciate the time. Great. That's all we have today, folks. My name is Ara Topouzian, again, Executive Director of Michigan Venture Capital Association. This is part of our ongoing webinar series. Stay tuned to our website. We'll have more. We're trying to do these on a weekly basis. And with that, stay well and stay healthy, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye now.